I know that I said I would post a video for you to show you how to transplant your little plants if you pick them up from the school. I think I said in the email that I sent out, these are called spider plants, and I think it's just because they have kind of legs like spiders, I don't know. So I'm going to show you how to transplant one of them today, but I'm also going to show you, one of the questions I had was how often to water them. And so I have two here that I still have at home, and I wanted to show you how the dirt looks different in them. The dirt in this one right here is very dark. You can see that just by looking at it, and the dirt in this one is a lot lighter. The dirt that's dark here is still very wet, and so you don't need to water it yet. So sometimes you can tell by looking at it, but you should also be able to just touch it as well. And if the top still feels damp or wet, then you don't want to water it yet. This one is very, very dry, and you can feel that when you touch it. So this one you would want to water. But as you can see, the plant still looks good. So these can tolerate being dry a little bit. You don't have to worry about it too much. But if you touch it and it feels hard when it's dry, then you know that it's time to water it. So I deliberately let one dry out a little bit here, this one, because it's much easier to transplant the plant when the dirt is dry. If you try to transplant it when it's wet, like this one, when you take it out of this pot, the dirt will crumble everywhere and it will fall off of the plant, the roots on this plant. So you don't want to transplant it if it's still wet. I'm going to put that one down there. So you want to transplant it when it's dry. I'm going to show you when I take this out of the pot. Get it out here. You kind of push on the bottom a little bit to loosen it to get out. See, when I take it out of the pot, because it's dry, it stays in the shape of the pot, which makes it much easier to transplant. And you can see all the roots on this one. It's got really big roots, so that tells me that it's time to transplant it. It's getting a little bit too small. The pot is getting a little bit too small, so I'm going to put it back in there for a sec. You want to transplant it into a pot that's not too much bigger than the first one that it's coming out of. So this one is a good size to transplant it into. You wouldn't want to put it in a big one like this. Maple. This is too big for a little tiny plant. Okay, so we'll put it into one that's just a little bit bigger for right now. Okay. We're outside transplanting, so of course my dogs are barking a little bit. Shh, come here. You're okay. So I have my big bucket of dirt here, and I'm just going to fill it up with some dirt. And when you this dirt's already a little bit wet. When you fill up your pot, you want to push it down a little bit so that it's a little bit packed in there a little bit. I'm going to fill it. Shh. You're okay. Shh. Come here. Good girl. You're going to fill the pot up enough so that when you put your transplanted plant in there, that it doesn't stand up over the edge of the pot. See, this one I've got a little bit too much dirt in here already. I don't know if you can tell, but this is sitting above the top of the pot. So I'm going to take out a little bit of dirt. Okay, we'll try again. Okay. See, I don't know if you can see now, but the top of the plant, the top of the dirt is underneath the top lip of our plant here. Okay, so now I'm going to hold it, but if you look on the inside, it's sitting there in the middle. There's dirt underneath it, but there's no dirt around the edges. So now I need to put some dirt around the edges to hold it in place. You just put in a little bit at a time. If you get dirt on the leaves, it's okay, because it'll fall off. You can just kind of blow it off later or shake it off a little bit gently and it'll come off. So I'm going to put in dirt a little bit at a time and push it in there. See, it's starting to get filled up all around the edges, and I'm just going to like push it down with my finger as I put in some dirt. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more. Come to check it out, see if I'm doing a good job. That's Dingo. Good boy, Dingo. I've filled up the rest of this pot here with dirt. You can see now I filled in all around the edges. I used my finger to press it down. We want to press down the dirt because when we water it, the water would press down the dirt. So you want to do that with your finger, because if the first time you water it, it presses all the dirt down, you'll have to add more dirt. So I want to make sure I've got enough in there for when I water it. And that's it. So I've repotted this plant. What I'm going to do now is water it, because even though the dirt I added was a little bit wet, the little pot that the plant came out of was very dry. So he's still dry in there. So I'm going to add some water to this and then just put it in a sunny place and you're good to go. Okay, have fun repotting your plants.